Next up, man, we're going to talk about the Mississippi State Bulldogs, man. Mississippi State got a new coach, Mike Elko, coming over from Duke. In 2 years at Duke, I think if Riley Leonard doesn't get hurt this year, I think they win another 9 games this year at Duke. I
Yep.
think he's shown it.
Wait,
What?
no.
Coach, Mississippi
He
State
said
has
A&M.
Oh, yeah. I'm right. You're right. This is Jeff Lebby. My
There you
mistake.
go.
Listen, I got the maroons and the garnets and the burgundies mixed up. Elko is at A&M. Jeff Lebby, who was at Oklahoma, and hey, man, I'm friends. I've made some newfound friends over, in the Oklahoma Sooner Nation, man. They weren't too mad that Lebby's gone. I think I started the season out. They liked Lebby, and then kind of as the season went on, they thought he could use do a little bit better. But now he's at Mississippi State, first year coach. Just looking at the schedule, man. I mean, they started out with Eastern Kentucky. If I'm a first year coach, give me Eastern Kentucky for the first game. I like it. And then they got at Arizona State and then Toledo. So kind of, I would say, manageable first 3 games as a new coach. But then you get into the meat of that schedule, stat guy. You got Florida at Texas. You get a bye, then you play at Georgia, A&M, and Arkansas. Like that 5.
Ouch.
Yeah, that 5-game stretch, especially for a new coach, stat. What you thinking about that one?
I mean, that's rough, but I'll be honest. You look at their schedule as a whole, and I'll take it over a lot of the other schedules that we've seen. Definitely give me this over Florida's schedule. I'll be honest, I would take this over Georgia's schedule.
Yeah, me too.
I mean, I really like it. The Toledo game, I don't know what all Toledo returns, but they went like 10-2 or 11-1 and won their conference. So that's going to be a tougher group of 5 game, right? That'll be kind of scary. But I mean, the first 3 weeks are nice. Florida at home doesn't give you the scares. I mean, the schedule sets up kind of nice for him for a first year head coach. Try to make it to a bowl game.
Well, at least he gets a bye in between Texas and Georgia, but he does have to go on the road to both of those teams. So,
no, it's brutal.
Excuse me. And then he follows Georgia up with the other, first year head coach, first year at Texas A&M anyway, Mike Elko that I was talking about earlier.
Yeah.
And then Arkansas, where you got Sam Pittman's kind of on the hot seat, and then UMass. Yeah, this is not a bad schedule. So, Tim, what 2 games, just as a fan, are you looking for with the Cowbells? Maybe is that with the Cowbells or on the road?
Yeah, I would just say real quick, hey, Mississippi State, your AD is looking for a new gig. You can take them back. So, yeah. This schedule, it looks like the typical SEC schedule. I think this will be. I don't think this is not an unnormal year for them. Other than obviously at that Texas game, but yeah, I think that this game, like having the at Texas bye week at Georgia, I think that's going to be very interesting. And then being a first year head coach, we always know that you're going to lose games that you probably should win. So I definitely, be looking out for those first 3 games, right? To see how they kind of set the momentum and set the tone. Because if you can maybe possibly, get away 3-0 and then you get to host Florida was at home, right? It would be interesting to kind of set the tone. But yeah, first year head coach, I just, Mississippi State, they had a few issues and fired Arnett. After 1 year.
I think he was kind of in the lose-lose though. You're going from a true air raid, and then he wants more pro style. That's a hard sell.
100%.
Yep. But yeah, I think the schedule it'll be interesting to see how Mississippi State fares through this, and yeah.
Jamie, so of course the Texas and the Georgia games are probably the 2 biggest. I mean, outside of the Egg Bowl, but outside of those 3 games, like what's the one game you thinking like a first year coach he needs to at least be in the game or win the game?
I was gonna say I'm looking forward to the battle of the first year coaches between Elko and Lebby. Gotcha. Actually, that A&M game, I think that's an interesting game for both of those guys to kind of go head to head and see how they match up against each other. I mean, Elko's obviously he's the defensive guy and Lebby's the offensive guy, so it could be interesting. That could be interesting.
That's right. Stat, who you think the pressure's on more in that game? A&M and Mississippi State. I think I would say Elko because Elko has head coaching experience.
That's true.
The pressure's on Elko because it's A&M and they're idiots and their expectations are unrealistic. So I really think Mississippi State kind of it sucks. I mean, they kind of did bad by that guy, but it was almost like, look, nobody wants to be the guy replacing the guy.
Yeah.
So they burned their coordinator, whether right or wrong, and now it kind of gives them a fresh start. I think they're going to give him time to try to build something, and I really don't think there's a lot of pressure. I think he can kind of roll into this year, see what he can do, try to play yourself to a bowl game or maybe 7 wins, and then go on from there. I will tell you the one disappointment I have looking at this schedule is my Thanksgiving next year is already completely ruined. Why in the world did they move the Egg Bowl off of Thanksgiving?
Hey man,
somebody's fired.
This is the thing. The Egg Bowl is always the rivalry week because of the playoffs. I guess it and the way November works out. November has 5 weeks in it this year.
Yeah.
So or next year, I should say. So that's why it's not gonna be on Thanksgiving. That Missouri game is the weekend of Thanksgiving. I'm pretty sure they won't play on Thanksgiving though. So you won't get your Egg Bowl then, but I'm looking at this and Jeff Lebby, I get it. First year head coach, they're going to give him a lot of leeway, but the Eastern Kentucky, Toledo, UMass are games that he should win, just better talent. I know Toledo played pretty good this year. They end up, I think they only lost 2 games in the regular season, but still Mississippi State should have more talent. We'll see what he can do with it. Outside of that, I'm looking at that Arkansas game and possibly the Arizona State game. I mean, I like Sam Pittman, but he hasn't shown that he can do much at Arkansas. If KJ Jefferson's not there, which I think he said he was planning on entering the portal, but he hasn't entered it. It's been put on his story today, on his IG story. I think I read that he had on some Arkansas gear, trying to tease him, I guess. I don't know. But I think Levy's in for a long year. His first year, I'm looking at like four. Listen, he might have a Colorado type expectation for a first year. I think 4 wins will be good for him in the first year.
I mean, everybody else expected Colorado to be what Colorado turned out to be, but not Colorado fans, man. They were winning the Natty.
Well, we can talk about that too. When you start out 3-0, people. It changes people's perception. What was you gonna say, Stat?
My question for you is, what happens if they start off 4-0, which they very well might?
I think people will just be happy because they know Texas is coming up next. I don't think even if they were to start 4-0, I don't think they're gonna beat Florida. But it is at home. It's Cowbells. Graham Mertz played better than any of us expected. I don't
for
think
sure. That's for real.
Even after the first game, we were just kind of like, hey, Mertz wasn't the problem. But as they went on, I'll be honest with you, I thought he was going to play better when he played Georgia. But bringing Mertz back, bringing Montrell Johnson back, Trey Harris, then you got, a couple of good young guys on defense. Napier's in his 3rd year. If he wins those 4 games, look, man, I think the administration's happy with the rest of the season because then they get UMass and then they'll have that 5th win and possibly they could go bowling. If they go 4-0, I'm gonna say they're gonna go bowling. I think I don't think they're going 4-0 in their first 4 games, but if they do, they're going bowling. I think they go if they do that, then they add Arkansas and UMass and they'll go bowling and possibly lose the rest of them. So
I could see this Mississippi State team going bowling with the schedule.
Tim, Mississippi State bowling next year.
It'll be interesting because of their they have the 13 now in the portal.
Yeah.
So he's this team, he's gonna have to do this thing from the ground up. It's a tough ask, especially what they did. They're coming off of basically 2 head coaches in the last couple of years. Obviously, Mike Leach, rest in peace. But yeah, I don't know. I'm gonna say nay on this one for me.
Jamie, they going bowling first year?
Gosh, I don't know. I think it's kind of a tall ask. I bet they finish 5-7. I don't know, man. Boy, it's a favorable schedule. Like, it's a favorable schedule, but it's still got some. There's still some tricky ones in there.
Yeah. Compared to everybody else, like I said, I take this schedule over a lot of the other schedules, to be honest with you. I mean, even going on the road to Texas and Georgia. Outside of that, at Ole Miss, it's not the same as everybody else going to Ole Miss because it's a rivalry game. Tennessee, I don't know. I'm not really sold on Josh Heupel and the whole Tennessee hype, to be honest. But hey, Lebby's a first-year coach. Outside of that, I think this is a good, good schedule for a first-year coach, considering what he could have. I mean, again, it's not the Georgia schedule. It's not the, the Bama LSU schedule or the Florida. Definitely not the Florida schedule.
Nobody wants the Florida.
Nobody wants the Florida schedule. Exactly.
Got it jumping like it's that valley. I call my dogs out the pound. Let's go eat. Turn on the fanatic. Let's have a debate. Who really hold down the Southeast from state to state? What team hungry gonna eat?